You tap confirm and the purchase goes through. The monthly payment fits. The card still has room. The retirement contribution can wait until the next raise. And after the kind of week you just had, spending a little money to feel better does not seem reckless. It feels earned. Nothing breaks that day. The bills still clear. The account looks normal enough. But months later, you are still paying for something you barely think about. Years later, the savings never reached the number you expected. The raise came and disappeared. And one day, you look at another payment and think, why am I still paying? The most expensive money mistake is often the one that feels affordable in the moment. Most people judge a decision by what it does to today. Can the payment fit this month? Can I cover the minimum? Can I skip saving once without anything going wrong? Today gives you immediate answers. The payment is only $80. The subscription is only $15. The phone upgrade barely changes the bill. The furniture can be split into installments. What those numbers do not show is how much of your future income has already been promised. A monthly payment tells you what leaves today. It does not show you how long your future has to keep paying for the decision. That is why financing can make an expensive choice feel small. You stop seeing a 2-year commitment and start seeing a number that fits between rent and groceries. Not every payment is a mistake. Sometimes financing is necessary. The danger begins when I can make the payment quietly becomes the same thing as I can afford the cost, because the payment is not only taking money, it is taking room. Room to handle a repair without panic. Room to build savings. Room to invest. Room to make a decision next year without carrying this year behind you. Credit cards hide this especially well. You make the minimum payment on time. The account stays current. There is no late notice, no urgent phone call, no visible sign that the situation is getting worse. So emotionally, it feels handled, but the balance barely moves. The CFPB warns that paying only the minimum can take years, while paying more reduces the interest paid over time. That is what makes the minimum payment deceptive. It can make debt feel controlled while time keeps making it more expensive. You remember the purchase happening once. The interest does not. It returns every month and asks another paycheck to help pay for the same decision. In May 2026, the average commercial bank credit card interest rate across all accounts was 20.94%. At rates around that level, carrying a balance does not just delay the payment, it changes the price. The meal was eaten months ago. The trip is now a folder of photos, but the balance remains, taking a small cut from every paycheck and making each new month harder to move through. That is the cost you feel later. Less flexibility, less progress, more of your income arriving with old instructions attached to it. And that is not the only decision that charges you later. Sometimes the expensive choice is doing nothing. You tell yourself you will start investing when you earn more, when the debt is lower, when work becomes stable, when you understand the market better. Waiting feels safe because nothing leaves the account today. There is no bill showing what the delay cost. No notification appears saying, you just lost another year of potential growth. That silence makes waiting feel free. It is not. Investor.gov describes compound interest as growth earned on both the original money and the growth already accumulated. Time matters because money gets more chances to build on itself. Take a simple illustration, not a promise. Investing $100 a month at an assumed 8% annual return for 30 years grows to roughly $149,000. Start 10 years later and contribute for 20 years under the same assumption, and it grows to about $59,000. The person who started earlier contributed only $12,000 more, but the ending difference is roughly $90,000. That gap is what 10 additional years were allowed to do. This is why small amounts can feel pointless now and become meaningful later. $25 does not change your life this afternoon. $50 does not make the rent cheaper. But small money has another job before it becomes impressive. It builds a system. It proves that some part of your income can survive the month. It creates the habit of turning work into something that stays. Small money looks weak when you judge it by today. It looks different after years of not being interrupted. The same delayed cost appears when every irregular expense is treated like a surprise. You finally get the savings account above $1,000. Then the car starts making a noise. The insurance renews higher than expected. An appliance stops working. Within days, months of progress are sitting inside expenses that felt sudden, even though some version of them was always going to happen. The Federal Reserve found that in 2025, 63% of adults could cover a $400 emergency using cash or its equivalent, and 55% had savings for 3 months of expenses. That still leaves millions exposed when an ordinary disruption becomes a financial crisis. Using savings is not the mistake. The mistake is building no separate system for expenses that are irregular but predictable. So every repair, annual bill, and replacement has to attack the emergency fund, the credit card, or the progress you were making. When life has no buffer, the future becomes the emergency fund. Then a raise arrives. For a moment, the pressure loosens. You upgrade the apartment, replace the car, add a few conveniences. None of it feels extreme. The raise is simply making life feel more like the life you thought working this hard would create. But slowly, the upgrades become the baseline. The larger paycheck now has a larger set of bills waiting for it. The extra income never gets the chance to become savings, ownership, or choice. The raise was supposed to create breathing room. Instead, it created a more expensive version of the same pressure. Workplace retirement benefits can disappear the same way. Retirement feels distant. Enrollment feels confusing. The contribution looks too small to matter when the paycheck already feels stretched, and not everyone has access to a workplace plan. But among private industry workers in March 2025, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that 72% had access to retirement benefits, while 53% participated. Access is not the same as use. For someone with a plan and a possible employer match, waiting years to look at it can become another cost that arrives late. Not because they were careless, because the opportunity looked small, complicated, and too far away to compete with what needed attention right now. That is the hidden pattern underneath all of this. Today has a voice. Today has stress, bills, fatigue, problems that need an answer before bedtime. Tomorrow is quiet. Tomorrow does not send an overdue notice when you skip a contribution. It does not show the interest before you carry the balance. It does not complain when a raise becomes new monthly obligations. It waits. And because tomorrow stays quiet, today keeps winning every money decision. The mistake you do not feel until years later is letting today make every decision because tomorrow is too quiet to fight back. Changing that does not require treating every purchase like a crisis. It requires making the future visible before the decision disappears into normal life. Before accepting a new payment, ask what it will still be costing you 6 months from now. Not only the dollar amount, what will it reduce? What will become harder to save for? What part of the paycheck will still be unavailable after the relief or convenience is gone? For expenses that keep pretending to be emergencies, create separate sinking funds: a car fund, a medical fund, an annual bill fund, an appliance fund. The amount can start small. The purpose is to stop predictable life from repeatedly destroying money meant for true emergencies. When possible, pay more than the credit card minimum. Think of the extra payment as buying back future paychecks. Every dollar that reduces high interest debt gives a later paycheck fewer old decisions to carry. Then automate one small transfer toward the future. Savings, retirement, investing, extra debt payoff. The right destination depends on your situation. The important part is that something moves before the rest of the month gets a chance to negotiate with it. The goal is not to become perfect with money. It is to stop letting ordinary decisions quietly borrow from your future. You were not stupid for choosing relief when life felt heavy. You were not careless because the payment looked manageable. You were not weak because waiting felt safer than starting. Most delayed cost mistakes are built to feel harmless. That is why people repeat them. But once you understand that some prices arrive years after the decision, the question changes. You stop asking only, "Can I afford this today?" You start asking, "Will future me still be paying for this when the feeling is gone?" Because the money mistake you do not feel until years later is rarely one dramatic failure. It is a payment here, a minimum there, a contribution skipped, a raise absorbed before any of it becomes ownership. And eventually, the uncomfortable question appears. Where did all that time go? And why did so little change? Understanding delayed cost also explains why investing can feel so difficult when money has always been used for protection. When being broke feels familiar, keeping cash close can feel safer than putting it somewhere that rises and falls. That fear is not irrational. It was trained by years of needing every dollar to protect the present. Why investing feels risky when being broke feels normal is what the next video breaks down. Subscribe to Fiscal Sense for more videos that explain the hidden money pressures keeping hardworking people stuck and what actually helps.